So I am here to speak with you on how you can choose to shape your life with habits for health and wellness. And why not? I'd like to say I'm choosing health and wellness. I'm sure everybody here would like to say they're choosing health and wellness. In fact, if I ventured to ask every single person in this audience if there was anyone here actively not choosing health and wellness, I probably wouldn't get too many takers. So then one might venture to ask, well, why bother having someone speak on such a topic? Well, to me, it seems like the real meat of the subject are the actual habits that we can choose to support this healthy way of being. Well, I could definitely speak to that. I have a lot of really healthy habits. One might venture to say that my habits are too healthy, but that's a subject for a different talk. So I'm gonna walk you through my day. I get up before the sun comes up. I do some yoga. I do some breathing. I do some visualization. I do some meditation because I have read that all of that combined will put you in the super brain space of being very relaxed while being very clear and energized. And don't I just see really clear, yet very relaxed and energized? Then I have some non-genetically modified strawberries, along with some dairy-free yogurt, along with some of my favorite grain-free granola, because God forbid I would have a carb before I give a talk and risk showing up here potentially getting brain fog because I've read that carbs can do that to you. Then I choose to have some matcha tea because God forbid I would have a cup of coffee and risk being nervous and jittery before my talk. And now I'm feeling really good about all the habits that I have chosen to shape my morning for health and wellness. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling really grateful for my life and all the things that are in it. And then I start going downstairs, where there's a very real chance that my calm, cool, collected way of being will not stand up to the one thing that can bring it down. Daily life. Cue my wonderful husband, who has taken on my usual task of food shopping and has purchased none of the things that I have asked for and all of the things that I would never, ever buy, while at the same time I notice that someone has once again forgotten to flush the downstairs toilet, while at the same time my older son is asking for me to make yet another hair appointment for him after he just got a haircut 2 weeks ago. I mean, is this like a normal cadence? Are people now getting haircuts every 2 weeks? And at the same time, my younger son is still up in bed and he is screaming downstairs, "Can I please stay home from school today?" for no apparent reason. I'm like, you know, back in the day when I was gonna ask my parents if I could stay home from school, I need to have a really good reason. And at the same time, I got my dog, who was bringing his food, over to the rug because I guess he thinks that we're gonna steal it, which in the 8 years that he's been living with us, we have never done. And here I am, I'm just trying to get out the house, and I finally do. And I get in my car, and I can't pull out of the driveway because right then and there, my neighbor's getting a delivery, and the driver is blocking my way. And I just can't believe how unbelievably selfish he would be. Doesn't he know that today is the day that I am getting a TED Talk, and that every single moment that I have to spend sitting waiting for him to move his truck is a moment that I could be spending relaxing and preparing for my talk, and now I'm raging, and I'm raging, and I'm raging on this day that I need to come and speak to you about how I've perfectly shaped my day for health and wellness and how you can too. And then I go there. A decision of how my entire life is unfair. In fact, I can't even think of one thing that's fair about my life. My heart is racing out of my chest. I can't get a good breath in. And let me tell you this, my friends, this is the opposite of health and wellness. This is called stress. And 100%, none of it is my fault. Or is it? See, life doesn't really care that you've perfectly shaped your morning with habits for health and wellness. None of that really matters if every single thing that happens on the outside is affecting you on the inside. You could do self-care all day long, but if you haven't cultivated a deep sense of love, gratitude, appreciation for every single thing that happens in your life. All the breathing exercises in the world won't ever be able to teach you that, because what matters most is how you choose to feel about your life, the perspective that you have on your life. Now, right about now, everyone's like, how can I feel all those really good things about my life all the time when look at the chaotic world we are living in? And yes, that is true. The world is really chaotic right now. We've got death, disease, war, really strange weather, even stranger politics. We have robots that are taking over. We have a lot of reasons why we could all be really angry. And that is where owning your perspective matters most. Because the one most important thing that I have ever learned in my life, and the reason why I'm standing here today and what I want to communicate to you, is that you might not be able to change all of the chaos that's going on around us in this world, but what you can change is the way you feel about it. You can change the way you take it in. That's what you have complete ownership of. Who here has ever heard of Victor Frankl? Survivor of the Holocaust. He had his family murdered. He had his home taken from him, his career destroyed, a manuscript that he had written for a book just finished burned before his eyes. It was in his deepest, darkest moment that he had a burning realization. There was one thing that they could never take from him: how he thought, his feeling, his perspective on the situation. And it was in this deepest, darkest moment that he chose something that probably no one here could ever imagine choosing. He chose hope. He chose to look at his situation as a story that he would one day share with the entire world. And that gave him the power, and it gave him the purpose to go on. And that's what shaped the rest of his days there. When everyone else was giving up, he noted it wasn't the deplorable circumstances. It wasn't even the captors that led to everyone's demise. It was their perspective. And you know what, my friends? When he got out, he wrote Man's Search for Meaning, one of the most well-read books of our time, in 9 days. He spent the rest of his life traveling this world, talking about and teaching about the power of perspective. Which takes me back to me white-knuckling it in the driveway, where I have one of two choices, right? I could blame my outer circumstances. I could be a victim. Or I could choose to take ownership of the way that I feel, and I can choose to be empowered to transform it. Now, how do we do that? Most of you don't really realize, but we are going around this world with a giant sensing device that is with us all the time that will tell us how we feel. It's called our bodies. That giant appendage located right below the neck. Now, we never listen to our bodies because we are just too busy listening to the brain. And the brain's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Oh my God, you look not really good in that outfit. What am I going to make for dinner? That's what the brain is saying. But if we would actually take a moment to become fluent in the languaging of our bodies, we would be able to tap into an incredible wisdom that is trying to communicate to us. Rumi, famous 6th century Persian poet, said it best. Those pains that you feel, they're messengers. Listen to them. Now, how's that play out while I'm still white-knuckling it in the driveway? I can be empowered to transform the way that I feel in 3 easy steps. I can notice, I can name, and I can normalize. In step 1, I notice this pain, this discomfort, my body is trying to tell me something. And I notice that I don't want to go around the world this way. I want more for myself. I want a different way of being. I'm worthy of that. And just noticing that, in and of itself, just that is called awareness. And the very most important first step that you all can take to be able to cultivate a habit for health and wellness. In step 2, I name how I feel. And it's never just stress, right? We've been using stress for everything, right? Something doesn't go wrong. Oh my God, well, it's stress. I'm lucky when my boys come home from school, if I get something more than stress when they didn't have a good day, they might go a little bit deeper than that. They might say, not good. But we never really take a moment to get curious about what it is that we are feeling. And when we do, what we will find is that behind every single one of those pains lives an emotion that's just waiting to be seen and heard. What am I feeling when I can't get a good breath in and my chest is tight and my heart rate is elevated? I'm feeling fear. Just by naming the emotion, just by honoring it, it dissipates. Just by sending it up to see the light of day, it starts to go away. See, emotions, they don't last very long. But it's when we ignore them, it's when we tell ourselves that we should be stronger than that and keep pushing on, that they live inside of us. They stay within our bodies, causing us ongoing pain that can lead to illness and disease, which takes me to step 3. We normalize. And this is where it gets really interesting. I asked myself, what is the originating thought behind the emotion that I'm feeling? Because the grandfather of every single emotion is a thought. Now I'm going to be saying something here that I never thought I'd say on this stage. I was afraid that I wouldn't do well in this talk, that my morning that had gone awry would cause me to show up here forgetting my words, and that you all would not like this talk, and because of that, my career would be over, and because of that, my life would be over, and why did I sign up to do this talk in the first place? Yeah, I went all the way there. Or I could tell myself what I'm feeling is normal. I could tell myself that anyone else in this situation might be feeling the same exact way. I can give myself permission to be human. And I can develop a deep sense of compassion for myself in that moment and tell myself, this is me doing my best. And then all of a sudden, I look at that delivery driver who I'm still angry at, think about my kids and my husband, still feeling anger for them too, and I realize this is them doing their best too. And I start to have a deep sense of compassion for them. And right then and there, in that peace, my heart rate begins to lower. My hands stop gripping that steering wheel. I start to get a better breath in. I start to get to a place of deep peace. And my friends, this is called getting your power back. Because instead of giving it away to every single thing and person on the outside, I just got it back. Where I can use that to choose the way that I want to feel instead. And how is that? I want to feel like I'm enough. I want to feel like I don't have to show up here being perfect. I could just show up here being me. And then I start getting really excited because I'm a really exciting person to be. And then I remember, oh my God, I love speaking. That's my passion. I now feel electrified with a great sense of joy and gratitude for being here. And I can feel it in my body. And that deep sense of warmth is something that I want to just come here and I want to share with all of you. And I got to tell you this, in this moment, I don't think it's possible for me to feel a greater sense of health and wellness. Just ask Dr. Joe Dispenza. He'll tell you, when you are feeling these elevated emotions, love, joy, excitement, the brain takes that as like, oh my God, we've been having a really good time out here. I am going to create a biology for longevity for you because it seems like you really want to be here. And what does it do? It'll cascade down 1,300 positive chemical reactions in order to create a body that will be here for as long as possible. You'll be able to ward off diabetes, cancers. It'll eat the tangles that causes Alzheimer's. It will actually help remove inflammation. It will actually help to reverse your gene code, reverse your aging. Now this, my friends, is the ultimate way for you to create a habit that shapes your life for health and wellness. And I got to tell you this, as I am standing here, I am feeling a great sense of gratitude for being here, because I have been able to cultivate this sense of joy in the face of a chaotic morning. And you now are all empowered to be able to do the same exact thing, to know that you are worthy of feeling the way that I do now, and that you can appreciate all of the difficulties that come your way, because they're there just to remind you of the bliss that comes when you get back to an elevated emotion after having lost it. And that, my friends, is the only way and the required way to be able to cultivate the only shaping of your life for health and wellness. This is called human mastery, and this is the way that we will thrive.